الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, to proceed. Today's lesson, we begin our first text in which we will, بإذن ta'ala, consolidate the rules of grammar that we have studied up to this point. So to begin with, we will discuss the story of, the title of which is Mishya al-Ghurab. So, Mishya al-Ghurab. What does this mean? Mishya means
story.
No, not story. Mishya means a walk. Mishyatun, if we pronounce it completely with the dhamma or tanweenu dhammin on the end, it becomes mishyatun.
Masha is he walked.
Yes, mishyatun is a noun from the verb masha. Masha means he walked. Right? So mishyatun is an ismun which is derived from the fi'lun masha. So masha is used to mean he walked. If we want to say I walked, we say mashaytu. If we want to say you walked, single male is
Mashayta.
mashayta. You walked, single female is
Mashayti.
mashayti. She walked
Mashat.
mashat. They, plural, walked is
Male, female.
male.
Male.
Mashu, and so on and so forth. So, masha, he walked. And this verb, masha, it occurs in Al-Quran in Surah Al-Furqan, where Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ الذين يمشون على الأرض حونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. So Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned Ibadur Rahman, the slaves of Ar-Rahman, الذين who يمشون, they walk على الأرض, upon the earth, حونا, with humility and modesty. So that verb mentioned in Surah Al-Furqan, yamshuna, is the present tense al-mudari' of masha. So that is masha, and from it we derive the noun mishyatun, which means a walk, as in the walk of an individual. Al-Ghurab is
Crow.
a raven or a crow. A raven or a crow, a small black bird. Al-Ghurab, as we mentioned before, this too appears in Al-Quran. In which surah? Al-Ma'idah, when Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned the incident regarding the two sons of Adam alayhi salam, when one of them killed the other one and then was left with his body, and because it was the first murder and indeed the first death that had taken place, he was unaware of what to do with this body. فَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ غُرَابًا, as Allah Azza wa Jalla said, فَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ غُرَابًا, Allah sent a ghurab, يَبْحَثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ, and he dug in the earth, لِيُرِيَهُ, in order to show him كَيْفَ يُوَارِي سَوْءَةَ أَخِيهِ, how to bury the body of his brother. So al-ghurab is mentioned in Al-Quran. In fact, it's one of two birds mentioned. The other one is al-hudhud in Surah An-Naml. مَا لِيَ لَا أَرَى الْهُدْهُدْ أَمْ كَانَ مِنَ الْغَائِبِينَ, the statement of Sulaymaan alayhi salam. So, if we have these two nouns, the first being mishyatun and the second being al-ghurab, and this walk belongs to al-ghurab, what kind of construct is this?
جملة الاسمية.
No. Two nouns closely related. One belongs to the other.
مضاف إليه.
Right, it's an idafa. So what do we place on the ta marbuta?
Single fatha.
Single damma. And what do we place on the ba?
مجرور كسرة.
Kasra al-ghurabi. So it becomes mishyatul ghurabi, walk of the raven. So that is the title of this story, Mishyatul Ghurabi, walk of the raven, and it begins with kana. And we have Ghurab Ya'ishu fi shajara. Right. Kana Ghurab Ya'ishu fi shajara. This sentence begins with kana. So because this sentence begins with kana, we need to first identify what? The two parts of kana. There's the ismu kana and there is the khabaru kana. So where Ya Muhammadu is the ismu kana?
اسمه kana is
ghurab. Right? It is ghurab. So therefore ghurab becomes the ismu kana is always
fish.
right. Marfu'un. To place one or two.
Two.
Right. Kana ghurabun Ya'ishu.
So it's present, but what does it mean?
Right. Ya'ishu, the past tense of Ya'ishu is Asha. Asha means he lived. He lived. So Asha means he lived, and therefore Ya'ishu means
He lived. He lives.
He lives. But because we have kana before it, what does it convey? Which meaning does it denote here? Kana Ya'ishu, he used to live. Who used to live? Ghurabun, a raven. Right? So kana Ghurabun Ya'ishu fi means
In.
And then we have shajara, and what do we place on the ta marbuta? Majrurun, one or two.
Two.
Why?
There's no alif lam at the start.
Right, there's no alif lam. So kana ghurabun ya'ishu fi shajaratin. Right. What? First of all, what does the sentence mean? Kana ghurabun ya'ishu fi shajaratin.
He a crow used to live in a tree.
Right. A raven used to live in a tree. Right? Kana ghurabun ya'ishu fi shajaratin. So we begin with kana. Gurabun is ismu kana, and the remainder yaishu fi shajaratin is
خبر كان
khabaru kana.
خبر كان
It's khabaru kana.
خبر كان
And even a khabaru kana yaishu fi shajaratin is what? Yaishu fi shajaratin is a
جملة اسمية
اسمية.
فعل
Jumlatul fi'liyatu. Even yaishu fi shajaratin is a jumlatul fi'liya. Why? Because it begins with yaishu.
verb
Right? And it's marfu'un bid-dhammah, with a dhammah, ala akharihi, upon its ending. Right?
so that is the فعل and the file.
Yes. So the fi shajaratin is what we call al-jaru wal-majroor. Al-jaru wal-majroor. Okay? In a tree. Right? And it's collectively conveying the meaning that a raven used to live in a tree. Now, in terms of yaishu, the other common verb used to denote lived is sakana. So, ya Muhammad, if we wanted to change this sentence to use sakana rather than asha, how would we change it?
So yes.
No, all the sentence.
Oh, you
Say
want to
the
change it?
sentence.
You want to change the whole sentence?
No, we're all going to change this word.
Okay. كان غراب
يسكن
يسكن
في شجرة. Right, now the reason why we select these stories to begin with, after you've learnt the rules of grammar, the reason being is that they contain phrases which are commonly used ordinarily, using verbs that are frequently used. And by changing a word, an ismun or a fi'lun, you can convey a completely different meaning. So, for example, kana gurabun yaishu fi shajaratin means a raven used to live in a tree. If we wanted to say, for example, a boy used to live in a house, how would we say that?
كان ولد يعيش في 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 البيت.
Kana waladun
ولد يعيش
yaishu
في بيت.
fi baytin. Right, fi baytin. Kana waladun yaishu fi baytin. Right? If we wanted to say a king used to live in a palace, we would say Kana
ملك يعيش
malikun. Or we could use yaskunu. Yaskunu
يسكن
fi qasrin. Right? Kana malikun yaskunu fi qasrin. Wanted to say that a lion used to live in a forest, we say
كان
Kana
أسد
asadun
يسكن
yaskunu
في
fi ghabatin. Right? Kana asadun yaskunu fi ghabatin, and so on and so forth. So, it's very important when doing these stories or studying these stories that when we take a sentence and you understand it, you don't just stop at that point. You remember the structure and then you make your own sentences from the vocabulary that you've learned. You introduce that in the sentence, change the words and create your own sentences. And that's how you learn quickly. If you want to learn Arabic quickly after studying some or all of the rules or the majority, then you must apply what you've learned to different sentences. Even if you don't say them, write them down. And similarly, we have Ya'ishu and Yaskunu here, but expressing this meaning of used to doing something is very common. A boy used to study Arabic. How would we say it? Or a student. كان طالب يدرس اللغة العربية. Right? كان طالب يدرس اللغة العربية. Right? If we wanted to say I, so we're going to drop طالب. We're going to make this first person. How would you say I used to study the Arabic language? No, كنت.
Because the week letter is
كنت.
Oh, I used to.
كنت. I used to.
Yes.
كنت would say كنت أدرس and then اللغة العربية. So the other point to note, therefore, you struggled changing kana to kuntu. So you must learn also how to change kana and the other verbs. Because what happens is when you see kana used frequently, and it is used frequently because it's the third person, and it means he was, or it was, or there was, it's very common. You can become accustomed to seeing it in the third person, so you never challenge yourself to think, well, how would I change it to first person? And then to second person, you used to study the Arabic language. It's very important to do that. So similarly, you can say, for example, that I used to eat chicken. Kuntu.
Akala is he ate.
Kuntu akulu الدجاجة. Right? كنت آكل الدجاجة. You used to drink milk. كنت تشرب اللبن. كنت تشرب اللبن. So the point being is that you must, in your own mind or writing them down, think when studying these stories, how would I change it to refer to or to create other sentences with different meaning. With different meaning. So, كان غراب يعيش في شجرة وفي شجرة وفي الشجرة طيور أخرى كثيرة. right. وفي الشجرة
T.
why في الشجرة
Yeah, because of the حرف الجر.
هذا حرف جر في. وفي الشجرة طيور. what does طيور mean?
Pigeon.
طيور is a plural of طائر, which means
Birds.
bird, or here this is the plural birds. So do we say طيور, طيوران, طيورين,
Run.
طيور. وفي الشجرة طيور. What does أخرى mean? Other.
Other. As in like
Other. Right? So other, plural. Well, the other, female. Right? آخر. آخر is other, singular, male.
I was gonna guess the end.
Right? آخر means other. أخرى means other, female. So آخر is other male, أخرى is other female. So وفي الشجرة طيور أخرى كثيرة. كثيرة.
كثيرا. كثيرة.
Why would you say كثيرة?
It's a مفعول به at the end of the sentence.
So the next sentence is في يوم من الأيام نظر الغراب إلى تحت الشجرة ورأى حجلة تمشي.
Long sentence.
Well, it's more than just one bit. So, these a bit. في يوم.
So in the day.
In a day.
A day.
يوم because it's المجرور يجره في. حرف جر renders it مجرور. في يوم من.
It means from.
Right.
Obviously,
من الأيام.
no idea.
الأيام. الأيام is the plural of يوم. الأيام is a plural of يوم. Here, this ordinarily would be min with the sukoon. The noon would be sakina, have a sukoon on it.
No.
But we place a fatha on it because two sukoons cannot meet.
So the sentence currently reads literally in a day from the days.
Right, in a day from the days.
Yeah.
Nadhara.
Morning.
Nadhara means he looked. Right? So nadhara, he looked, means that this is the beginning of our Jumlatul Fi'liya. Nadhara is the fi'lun, he looked. So the dua is Al-Ghurabu. Nadhara al-Ghurabu. Right? في يوم من الأيام نظر الغراب. So نظر is the fi'lun, al-Ghurabu is the
Raven.
the fa'ilun, and the fa'ilun is always
مرفوع.
مرفوع. نظر الغراب
تحت.
إلى تحت. Right, remember that tahta is what type of ismun?
It's time, no place.
Right,
It's
ظرف المكان. ظرف المكان.
it doesn't change.
It does. It does change if you have a harf jar before it.
تحتي.
So it becomes إلى تحتي إلى تحت الشجرة تي. So تحت الشجرة. Why is الشجرة مجرور?
Because of the تحتي.
Because of the no, well,
The إله and then if
no, because تحت الشجرة is an إضافة. Remember that the ظروف المكاني الظروف الزماني form the مضاف in الإضافة. They form the إضافة. Okay, so it becomes إلى تحت الشجرة تي. إلى تحت الشجرة. Right? So clear. في يوم من الأيام نظر الغراب إلى تحت الشجرة. Right? What? End. Okay. وراء.
he saw.
He saw. What is called a harfun, right? Istitnafiyya. Istitnafiyya means continuation. So a letter of continuation, right? It can also be waw al-ataf, which means that the word after takes the same ruling as the one before. But we'll explain that when we see an example of it.
Sure.
But this waw is literally how we use it in English. Okay? So in a day from the days, Al-Ghurab looked under the tree and
He saw.
Ra'a, he saw. How do you say I saw?
I saw is rahtu.
Ra'aytu. I saw is Ra'aytu. You saw is
Ra'ita.
Ra'ayta. She saw is
Ra'iti.
Ra'at. Ra'at. We saw is
Ra'i.
Ra'ina. Wara'a. Hajala. Hajala. Right. What do we place on the ta marbuta?
Hajalatun.
Hajala. It's the, so now this is our jumlatul fi'liya. Ra'a, he saw. Where is the fa'ilun? The fa'ilun is mustatirun, hidden. It's assumed to be huwa. Okay? It refers to al-ghurab. Right? Ra'a huwa, i.e. al-ghurabu. Hajala.
So it'll be mansub of the limit.
Hajalatan. So he saw hajalatan. Tamshi. Tamshi, we've done tamshi now. Mishyatul ghurab. Tamshi means
Walking.
walking. She. Tamshi means she is walking.
So hajalatan is what, sorry?
A partridge.
Okay.
It's a bird. A partridge. Tamshi, walking.
Okay.
Right? So, read it from Kana at the beginning and translate it.
So as I'm reading or just...
Yeah, as you're reading.
So كان غراب يعيش في شجرة. He he a crow.
A crow used to live.
Used to live in a tree.
Right.
وفي شجرة طيور.
And in the tree.
And in the tree, طيور is birds. أخرى, so female others. كثيرة.
كثيرة. Right. وفي الشجرة طيور أخرى كثيرة. Okay. Yes.
في يوم من
الأيام.
Okay, so that's in a day from the days. نظر, he looked.
When you're translating it, translate it as al-ghurab, so.
Okay, the raven looked.
Yeah, the raven looked
to under the tree. إلى تحت الشجرة.
Right.
So he basically looked under the tree. ورأى.
And he saw.
حجالة.
حجلة.
A partridge.
تمشي.
Walking.
Right. So what you need to do, therefore, is you need to learn every word, every verb or ismun that are here, and you need to be able to speak this story from different perspectives. So for example, rather than speaking about the third person, you need to be the ghurab. So you need to be able to say kuntu aishu fi shajaratin wa fi shajarati tuyurun ukhra kathiratan fi yawmin min al-ayami nadhartu ila tahti shajarati wa ra'aytu hajalatan tamshi. You understand? The only other point here is tamshi here is the state of hajalatan, a partridge that he saw. That state is called maf'ulul hal, that we haven't done yet. But do you understand my point? Is that you need to be able to do that from your own perspective, first person, from third person that's already here, male and female. And that's how you will strengthen your Arabic quickly. And you'll learn how to speak very quickly if you can follow this pattern. Okay, we'll have to conclude now for the prayer. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.